Hey everyone, we're back for round one, first round of today's Emerald Open. We've got Kelsey Horvath on Black Red Madness versing Simon Linabury on Green Black Delirium. They've decided their mulligan options, and I'm not sure who's playing first, but they're ready to go.
Okay, yeah, we are good to go. So we'll just let the floor know. Okay, I think we'll find out who is playing first in a moment as well.
Looks like it's Simon, who's played a Evolving Wilds, I believe.
Okay, yeah.
On the mountain.
That's a pretty good start for Green Black Delirium, actually. This deck wants to get as many card types in the graveyard as soon as possible, and land is definitely one of the harder ones. So
yes, definitely.
It's very nice to be able to do that on turn one.
Yeah, also thinning the deck of one land.
Yeah.
Which is handy, because it means that you have a higher chance of getting those good cards.
Of drawing your spells, yeah. This is a deck that doesn't mind hitting land drops, though. Its game plan, a lot of the time, the plan to win is just to cast an Emerald.
Yep.
And although you have a lot of ways to get lots of card types in the graveyard, you just still want to hit your land drops along the way.
We see Grim Flayer, which is an awesome card, but being killed by a lightning axe.
Yep.
Which is good for Kelsey, not so good for Simon. Though there is a creature now in his.
Yeah, and so one of the cool interactions Kelsey's got going on in his deck is abusing the graveyard. And normally the cost of discarding a card for Lightning Axe is pretty hefty, but this time she was able to discard a Scrap Heap Scrounger, which is a card that she can then use to enable all sorts of other shenanigans she's got going on in her deck.
Yep, she can bring it back by discarding some cards like Haunted Dead. She can also bring back, you see Liliana for Simon.
Okay, and there's the Scrounger. So one of the interactions Kelsey has going on in her deck, I believe, is the Prized Amalgam interaction. So that card will return to the battlefield if
a creature
returns from the graveyard. Yep. And so Scrap Heap Scrounger conveniently can be returned to the battlefield from the graveyard.
Sweet.
Yep, there you go. So she's got one of her enablers in the graveyard right now. So I think what her plan will be at this point will be to find as many ways to get Prized Amalgams into the graveyard as possible, and then at some point exile another creature from the graveyard to return that Scrap Heap Scrounger and get that going.
So we've got Mind Rack Demon going around for Simon, who's revealed some Kartas, I believe, in the graveyard. Get the Delirium count.
I think it might just be two types.
Yeah, it's lands and creatures.
I think it looks like it's just land creature currently, yep.
So Mind Rack is going into the red zone.
Yeah, that's a pretty big beater. It's a 4/5 flying demon with trample as well, which is not an irrelevant keyword.
Yeah, they've got another Grim Flayer, which is nice. I believe Kelsey should be on 16 points of damage as well.
Yep. We'll get life total update soon.
16 points of life, not damage.
Yep.
16 points of damage would be 4.
That would be pretty, I think Simon would be pretty happy with that being the case. Yeah.
In what, like turn 6? Turn 5?
Yeah, I think it's turn 5, yeah. Okay. And of course, she's, played a Scrap Heap Scrounger. It looks like...
It's going
so the Copter, as good as it is, was taken down by that Grasp of Darkness.
Yeah.
So Simon pretty much advancing his game plan pretty well currently.
Yep.
Okay. And at the same time, he's just taking that Liliana up as well, which is also capable of just winning games.
Yep. And that Lily took down Scrap Heap Scrounger, making it -2/-1. And
So
he's gone into the red with the Flayer and Mind Rack Demon, and he's just resolving the trigger from the Flayer.
Yep.
And
looks like he's just added a Planeswalker and an artifact to the graveyard there. So it's one of the great things that Grim Flayer does in this deck is that it allows you to just put cards you don't necessarily want to draw, but that you want to have in the graveyard. So things like the Vessel are pretty slow cards. They don't do a whole lot besides kind of cycling and replacing themselves, but they do add important card types to the graveyard, which helps you turn Delirium on, helps you get closer to casting that Emerald.
Yep. And so that Demon's not going to deal damage to Simon in his upkeep because I believe, definitely has Delirium now.
Yeah.
Which is excellent for him.
Yeah, it's one of the great things the Mind Rack Demon does is that it puts a whole bunch of card types into the graveyard when it enters the battlefield.
Yeah, but if you don't have the necessary card types that will do damage to you.
At this point, I don't think Simon would be too worried about that. He is winning the race, so to speak. At the same time, he's also ticking his Liliana up. It looks like he's... Did we just get an ultimate?
Looks like it. It is -7 for the emblem.
Yeah.
So, yep, there we go.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, this is exciting.
Zombie team.
All right. So this is, I think, an emblem that you can't lose from. You'd have to be quite far. Yeah, you'd have to be quite far behind to do that. So what this card, the emblem, is going to do is add at the end of Simon's turn, he will be adding zombies. Yep.
Yep. The amount of 2/2s
+2
zombies equal to the
number of zombies you control +2.
Yep.
Yep. So this doesn't sound like +2 is a lot, but it is exponential, which means the first turn you get 2, the next turn you get 4 more, so you'd be at 6, and the next turn you get 8, so you'd be at 14. So it grows very, very quickly.
Yay, maths.
Yep. This feels like something that Liliana would be doing. So at the end step, Simon's going to just point out the trigger of the Liliana emblem, and there we have some very beautiful looking zombie tokens by Canberra local Joshua O'Fell.
That's pretty sweet.
Yeah, so these were given out as promos at the Onyx Open as well.
Yep, and only making 2 because neither the Grim Player or the Mindwreck Demon are zombie types.
Speaking of zombies, here's another key piece of the puzzle.
Haunted Dead.
Haunted Dead.
The Kelsey.
Yes. So it's an interesting card. It sort of looks kind of inconspicuous, but it actually just turns a whole bunch of ridiculous things on. You can have some very broken starts with this card. Discarding it very early in the game means that for 2 mana you could potentially discard 2 Prize Amalgams and return it to the battlefield, and suddenly have, 9 power on the board on turn 3?
Yep, Spirit, Haunted Dead, Prize Amalgams.
Yep.
Pretty sweet.
Yep, and I think Kelsey's just actually just died to combat damage there.
Just dead. So 2 Mindwreck Demons, a Grim Player, and 2 zombies will do.
Yep. So that's one of the cool things this deck can do. It can have very aggressive start that puts a lot of powerful creatures out the board. They're pretty well costed. So I mean, the Grim Flare ends up being a 4/4 for 2 mana.
Yes.
Which is pretty efficient. And the Mindwreck Demons are 4 mana, 4/5 flyers. So you can just, if your opponent's not doing anything particularly pressuring to your life total, you are able to just get out of the gates really fast. Of course, the deck is kind of designed to be a lot longer otherwise.
Yeah. So now into sideboarding.
Yeah.
Any idea what they'd be sideboarding in, out?
So let's see. So Kelsey has got a couple of different options here. So Simon's deck is, I mean, they already had a pretty aggressive start, but in general, it's a much slower deck. So it wants to play big, expensive spells. So cards like Transgress the Mind are pretty good in these scenarios.
Putting the cards into exile
is very relevant. Yeah. So again,
not feeding that.
Yep. Yeah. So absolutely. So the Delirium decks want card types in the graveyard. If you're able to remove cards from the game without them going to the graveyard, you're actually really slowing the deck down. Yeah,
you're winning.
Yep. Well. So Transgress the Mind is a very, very good option there. It hits so many of the very powerful cards in the deck. Things like Ishkana, which we didn't see there, but it's one of the hardest cards to deal with. So this card, as well as getting rid of Ishkana, can also make sure that, for example, Delirium isn't hit very early. So when Ishkana comes down, she doesn't necessarily make all those spiders. Yep. Collective Brutality, I think, would be another very good option here. It's an enabler for Kelsey's deck, and it does plays a similar role. Again, you could snatch important cards out of the opponent's hand. Not being able to hit creatures is a bit of a problem, but there's still some relevant spells that could be hit.
Yeah.
The Mindbender, I guess she's got ways to turn that on. You could cast a Mindbender off a Haunted Dead, for example.
But Mindbender's discarding the cards.
Yep. So right, it is true.
Yeah.
That's true. Okay, so that is a bit less good.
Yeah.
It still has there's some value. It is just a big threat that could attack through.
Should bring in the Kalitas to zombie off with the zombies of Lily.
Potentially, yeah. I think, and Liliana, the Last Hope as well, is a very good choice. So there's a lot of good choices I think she can bring in here. Mostly the Transgress, I think, and just another Liliana can just win the game because one of the things that Green-Black deck does struggle to deal with are Planeswalkers.
Yes.
They play, most decks will play one, Ruinous Path. That's the spell, right? Yep.
Yeah,
one Ruinous Path. And Yep, and Simon is also playing some to the slaughters in the sideboard.
Yep. Do we want to have a look at his?
Yeah, let's have a look at what he's trying to do as well. So I think one of the best cards he's got in this matchup is Kalitas, and that's in the main board. So he'll be keeping that in. Again, for him, Transgress is also a pretty relevant spell. Again, as much as he's depending on the graveyard, so is Kelsey. So being able to hit a Prized Amalgam with a Transgress is pretty good. Even being able to hit a Haunted Dead is also pretty good as well.
Yeah.
All right. So I think Simon's board is pretty well set up. I think he might consider bringing in these Transgress the Minds, but and possibly even the Pick the Brains. But I think he can mostly just stick to his game plan here, and he should be able to do okay. Ishkana, if he can land that, is going to clog up the board. So even though Kelsey might be able to cheat out a lot of power very quickly, he's still got ways to manage that board.
Pretty sure he won't be bringing in Deadweight because that just...
Probably not, yeah. It doesn't kill too many things either. Yep, exactly. All right. So it looks like the players are good to go, and they've just finished their mulligans.
Yeah, and we know that Kelsey's on the play.
Okay.
She's chosen to be on the play, which is pretty good for her deck.
Yeah,
just
absolutely.
To aggro out there.
And you can have those broken starts. Yeah. So does her deck play the Neonate? So I think the most broken start is turn 1 Insolent Neonate, discarding discarding Haunted Dead.
Yep.
And then on turn 2, returning it, getting back the Prized Amalgams. Returning it, discarding 2 Prized Amalgams.
Discard Prized Amalgams.
So I mean, if you get to start like that, that's probably not one that Simon's great at dealing with.
Yeah, we've got a Crypt Breaker, which is going to allow her to discard. And at the Ruby Open, I played against her, and she was discarding a bunch of things to the Crypt Breaker and currying them and just swinging out there.
Yep.
Which is
so one of the better enablers, for sure. Ooh. Is she
discarding?
Oh wow, there you go.
Dead. It's nice.
That's what it's all about.
Yep.
Okay, so and gets to make a zombie. In the process. So
I love zombie armies. They're the best.
The what, sorry?
I love zombie armies.
Okay, yep.
I play Dredge in Legacy and Vintage. And yeah,
seems
zombie
good.
army is the way to go.
Okay, very nice.
We've got Simon playing a Grimflayer and returning turn to Kelsey.
Yep. Okay.
So looking like they're both off to reasonably good starts.
Yeah, it looks like Kelsey's, and she's got another. Looks like she has a Scrappy Scrounger in her hand as well. So this Crypt Breaker is working overtime currently. The ability to be sort of discarding to enable your game plan, and even a Neonate, and at the same time just making things with the Crypt Breaker. Like as you're discarding those enablers, you're also just building your board state. Is such a powerful effect. Yeah. I think it's a pretty safe attack for her here.
Probably getting in for free 2 damage.
Yep. Yeah. There's no way Simon's going to be chumping that creature. He's
tapped out, and
that Grimflay is just worth so much more to him.
Yeah.
And now that she's got
impressive board state.
Yeah, and that Copter. So I mean, if Simon has a Grasp of Darkness, I think his attack here indicates that he does have the grasp.
Yeah.
I think he'd be quite happy to. Okay, so Kelsey decided not to play around it.
Yeah,
He's quite happy to just chuck the
jump block.
Neonate.
Sacrificing it, discarding a Scrappy Scrounger.
Yeah. So unfortunately for Kelsey, the Grimflay does have trample, so that chump is not doing as much as she might have hoped. But still, it's fine. Okay, and I think probably correctly choosing to play around Grasp of Darkness. There's almost no way Simon would have attacked there if he didn't have it.
Yep. Absolutely.
Okay. Right. So pretty reasonable start. It looks like Simon got a couple of card types into the graveyard just there.
We've got Vessel giving an enchantment and another card.
I think that might be a Noxious Gear Hulk.
Yeah.
I'm not too sure. It looks, apparently he's got 4 types there. So
four types. Okay. We'll try and get that to be visible for us. And there we go. Have Kelsey recurring the Haunted Dead.
Okay.
Discarding, I think, a land.
And it looks like a Lightning Axe perhaps. Yeah. Okay, and Appetite for the Unnatural to take out the So he had some form of removal, which I think we could have maybe read because he played his land main phase. Yeah. So he main phase 1 he played that 3rd land, which does indicate a 3-mana spell that he wants, a 3-mana trick that he wants to play as opposed to a 2-1.
He's got 2 life off the Appetite for the Unnatural as well.
Yep, which isn't irrelevant. Like with this sort of zombie deck is pretty much a aggro deck, more or less.
Yeah, so him gaining life is a bit of a breaks to Kelsey's walk
Aggression.
off.
Yep, absolutely.
Yep.
Okay, very nice. So we've got 4 types. It looks like that we've got for
There we go.
Simon.
Yeah, so
Instant.
land, creature, instant, enchantment.
Yep.
And that's Noxious Gearhulk.
So that would
Was
be
it?
5
Yeah.
types then, would it? If it
Oh
is
yeah,
Noxious,
so artifact, enchantment,
Yeah.
creature.
Yeah, and now that Grimflayer is a 4/4, it's quite free to just make that attack there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Kelsey choosing to just preserve her life total a bit there, and deciding to soak up 2 damage with that zombie.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it looks like she might be empty-handed.
Hellbent.
Yeah. Well, she's still got, I believe, she might be planning to end step, exile that insolent neonate to return the Scrap Heap Scrounger to the battlefield.
Yep, she's got 2 open.
And looks like that's what she's going to do. So, yep. Unfortunately, no prize amalgams to get extra value off there, but still building a board state. And there's Kalitas. So this is a problem for Kelsey. Maybe something that she, it might have been worth holding that Lightning Axe for.
Yeah.
Kalitas has a very important line of text in this matchup. It says if a non-token creature an opponent controls would die, it gets exiled. So this is pretty bad news for Kelsey. She really wants to find a way to deal with this Kalitas. All it really takes right now is for Kelsey choosing to attack into Kalitas. She has no cards in hand, right?
Yeah, it doesn't look like it.
It's going to get exiled, and not only does it get exiled, but Simon actually gets a zombie off that as well. And he gains 3 life as well. So Simon will be pretty happy with that exchange. Quite happy to just block that creature and gain some life and get a zombie. So Kalitas is pretty backbreaking in this board state. And if the game goes long enough, Simon can even start just sacrificing those zombies into Kalitas and creating a huge threat that's outside of, for example, Lightning Axe range.
Yep. Definitely. And there we go.
Oh, wow.
Liliana.
Wouldn't be surprised if he just takes that up on the Spirit here.
Yep.
Or even a Crypt Breaker.
Crypt Breaker is
go for the
probably,
Crypt Breaker. That is the enabler.
Yep.
Okay, and wow, look at that. So he just got another zombie out of it too. So it looks like things are going Simon's way right now.
Yeah, there's definitely been a swing in who's marching forward.
Yeah. And although in general, you don't really want Haunted Deads in your opponent's graveyard. Okay, he's managed to line up a double block. She has, yep.
Getting rid of the Haunted Dead,
yep.
which we exiled.
Gets exiled, yep. So still a pretty favourable exchange for Simon here. He has got a vastly superior board state. He's got 2 blockers up to protect Liliana. Liliana will probably take a hit from that Spirit, but he is getting ahead nonetheless.
Yeah.
And I mean, look at those life totals. Kelsey's on 10 and Simon's on 25, so I don't think Simon's going to be too worried.
No.
Okay. So
she can come back from this.
There's a chance. Okay, and there you go. She did bring in that Transgressing, so that was a good sideboarding choice by Kelsey there.
Yep. So we've got Grasp,
Ishkana, and I think that's a Traverse still involved.
Yep. So
in Simon's hand.
The Ishkana.
Yep, makes sense.
So that Traverse being there means that you can go just fetch up another one.
Pretty much, yeah. There's all sorts of things he could do here, and I think just attacking is one of them.
Yep.
So he just gets to tick up, eat that
Kill
spirit. And he's got some very reasonable attacks here now as well.
Yep. So she can block 1 and
this is actually lethal if she didn't block there. So trading a zombie is probably the best block for her right now.
She goes down to 2. He's gonna
get more triggers. And he now has 3 lethal threats on the board.
Yep.
I'm not sure if Kelsey has many options here because I believe Damnation is not legal in this format.
No,
it's
I
not.
don't think so. No.
And
nice.
It would be pretty good for her. Yeah. Off the top, Ishkana here for Simon. I don't think a swamp is going to do it.
Nope.
That's the game. All right. So bad luck to Kelsey there. Simon just sort of executing his game plan the way he wanted to there, and Kalitas working overtime.
Yeah.
Just getting tons of value for him there. All right. Very nice.
It's a very interesting show. I don't think the Madness really quite had a chance to show what it can do.
Yep.
Delirium was, good example, perfect example of its
what
gameplay.
can do. Yep, absolutely. I think, I think Simon sort of recognizing the correct threats as well, making sure that he prioritized removing the enablers that Kelsey had as well.
Yeah, I think Kelsey would have been to a good advantage if she was able to see those prized amalgams. Not seeing them was, a bit of a side face.
Yeah. She could have put a lot of pressure on, especially with that start with the Crypt Breaker.
That start.
That was there was a lot of potential there to really go off.
Having the Crypt Breaker, the Haunted Dead, the Scrappy Scrounger, the Insolent Neonate. Seeing a few prized amalgams would have really helped out.
Yep, absolutely.
And some would have had no chance.
Yeah.
But that removal. Yeah.
Did a lot. Yeah, and also like this may be contributing. So I had a chance to speak to Simon yesterday, and he did tell me that his plan is to win the event today.
Oh, okay.
So
so he might be.
He might have planned to be winning.
Yeah. Well, I think most players usually plan to win.
Yeah, I guess so.
It's just
But no one's actually come to me and just told me they're going to win. So like I just felt maybe Simon's got something up his sleeve. Like
I hope he doesn't have anything illegal up his sleeve.
No, absolutely not. No, the thing is, so he's been on this deck I think since pretty early on in the format, and he's been doing exceptionally well. Like, he's got a great win rate with the deck. He knows it inside out. So
he's off to a good start.
Yeah, and I think he's just put a lot of prep in. So I think we'll be probably seeing more of Simon on stream very likely. As I expect him to do pretty well today.
Yeah, also Kelsey's a little bit newer to Magic.
Yeah, perhaps.
Constructed competitive level.
It's been great. She's been playing at all of our tournaments so far. It's been great having her along, and I've had a chance to chat with her as well.
That's good.
It's been it's really nice, and we're happy to have her and everyone else playing in these tournaments.
Yeah, some fresh faces.
Yep, it's absolutely. Good. All right. Cool. So we might leave it there then for round one, and we'll be back with round two in probably 10 or 20 minutes or so. Yeah. Okay. Fantastic.
And you'll probably be back with Michael.
It'll be myself or Virginia, and in the booth with either yourself or Michael. Yeah. Okay.
So we've got 4 commentators here today, so we'll be tossing and turning, and you'll be surprised to hear the lovely voices.
Yeah. So Michael Close has very generously given us his time today. He's travelled all the way from Sydney.
Yep, and he's very generously brought a rather husky voice with him.
He has, yes.
He's a little under the weather, but it's turned into his voice a nice husky tone.
Yeah, so I think everyone will be
delighted.
Delighted by the tone of his Michael's voice as well. Okay.
All right.
Awesome. Okay. Thanks, everyone. We will be back before too long with some more Magic at the Paragon Games Emerald Open, playing standard at Jolt Games. Okay. Thanks a lot.